with people and get into middle management, you're then into emotional quotient, like knowing how other people are reacting, knowing how you should respond. Above that, as you get into management, you're then into like an organizational quotient, knowing how to manage up, knowing how to manage down, how to look after the situation. But let's say you're now at a global leadership level. Then kicks in your decency quotient. I would say that decency, that ability to being the type of leader that inspires you, is what you want to kick into your life right now. So that means operating from a values perspective, from a values basis. Now, these are words that can feel easily said and hard to do. There are some practical ways we can just bring ourselves into alignment right here, right now, immediately. I say if there were 5 things in your life to concentrate on, and I'm going to put them in order, it would be sleep. To make sure that you're rested. Honestly, because if your brain's not functioning, and your brain doesn't function without enough sleep, everything else goes out of whack. Then, as soon as you wake up, if it's possible, movement. It's not that meditation and prayer aren't important, but if your body is not circulating, if the system's not operating, then everything else is a lot more difficult. So whether that means going for a walk, or whether it's going for a run or something, or yoga, there is so much scientific basis on how movement is extremely important. And then the prayer, the meditation, everything else can sit in a cleaner, clearer body. So the third would be actually watching what we eat. I'm afraid to say we all eat too much. Generally, we eat much more than we need to. We can check our portion control. If you try to eat 3/4 of what we eat right now, you'll find that actually you can manage just as well. And then even less, and you can manage even better. You have even better clarity. Then the fourth, meditation or prayer or gratitude, whatever works for you. Spirituality is not something that can be prescribed to you. It's what works for you. It's what uplifts you. And so when those other pieces are in place, you find that your body goes into alignment, and the way you're able to, whether it be breathing, whether it be any form of practice, it just works much better. And then the fifth would be vibrant dialogue. Exactly what we're doing now. It is so hard to be uplifted when you don't have the interaction and the dialogue that actually feeds our soul. So this brings me on to the journey I'm about to take you into, which is a values-based journey. So I would say once your kind of system is in alignment, you find that you are operating at 110, 120%, which isn't even possible. Like, you make decisions with greater clarity and greater certainty. Then, whether your situation is difficult or easy, the micro and macro decisions you're making will be made with a sense of being at peace with yourself first. So then I take you into a values-based journey. Now, if you're not from India, please put in the country that you're from, because within this journey, I take you around the world to like 101 different countries. I don't know if you can see there, but each country that I take you to has been distilled into a different value, whether that be honesty, authenticity, creativity, communication. These things, what we're finding now, especially right now when the world is becoming more virtual as well as physical, is that our personal and professional life is becoming almost the same, like they're becoming intertwined. The leaders that we respect are the leaders that have that integrity both in their professional life as well as their personal life. They're not afraid of saying if something is not going right personally at home, or they're not afraid of saying they don't know, or they're not afraid of saying, actually, I'm going to hire people that are even better than myself. And in some cases, I might even pay people more than I pay myself, because an empowering leader, and that's you and I, are the ones that empower the people on either side of ourselves. It's not about waiting for a great leader. It's not about being managed up. It's about each of us inspiring one another to be our very best selves. So then let me take you through this idea of thinking what values are the ones that get you going, that really fill your heart with joy. Not the ones that your parents have been talking about, or not the ones that your religious institution always talks about, or not what is promoted on social media or that your friends think are important, but what makes your heart sing. And those values, it's a very simple process actually, and I can take you through it at any point. And when we do that and we think about what makes our heart sing, what's even more important is to then prioritize those values. To think, what is it that's number one? What's my, not even what's most, it could be what's most important, or what's the most important if I'm going to reach whatever goal. Now, what are the goals in life? Is it that we're thinking about the next 20, 30 years that we're going to be working? Or is it that your body and your mind and your community need to be in place and thriving for your whole entire life? And if we take that objective, what are the decisions we're going to make then? How will we treat the people around us then? Because ultimately, that's the life that you're leading. So I almost encourage you to think about the words you would want said at your funeral, your eulogy. What's the type of person that is leaving this planet? Who did you want to be? And we work from there. We work from that person that you know you are, that you're capable of being, that you, the story you want written, we start writing it now. And so those 5 values, I encourage you to basically choose 5 values. Too many and you're split in too many different directions. Too few and the balance is almost not there. It's nice to have a variety. 5 is enough to manage, but when you prioritize those 5, have a number 1, and then something that's a little bit less important, and then something that's even less important, it becomes easier to then make those decisions. This is why the Dalai Lama said that this book leads you to success, fulfillment, happiness, and harmony. Harmony, why? Because you know what is the most important, and you haven't put everything as equally important. When we put everything at an equal level, then you're still pushed and pulled, you're torn, it becomes still, even though you've chosen your values, if you've put them as equally important, those decisions are still hard to make. But I'm talking about the micro and macro decisions that are making your life. Where you work, who you marry, how you spend your day, how you spend your morning. All of those are much easier to make when you've identified your core values and you have prioritized your core values. And this is what the values compass does. It almost looks at your operating system, helps you do that thinking right from the get-go, so that then every time you're in a situation or in an interaction, it's easier for you. You've already done the work. You already know which way you're going to turn. And you're not having to assess or reassess or think on the spot or manage at that time. And so I would say that I really did want this to be an interactive session. So please put your thoughts or put your questions in the chat, because this is meant to be serving you. And whenever we think about what the person we want to be, one excellent way of doing this is to think, who do I admire? Who are my heroes? They don't have to be far away. They can be people. It could be your parents. It could be someone in history. It could be someone, someone you've never met or someone, but the guarantee that the values that they have are the values that you admire too, the values that you think are important. And the leaders that we have don't have to be the leaders that we're working directly above us. They can be, you choose your kind of core team that is either your advisory team or the people that you look up to and that are guiding you. And those are the principles that you're going to use. Those are the values that you're going to use in your day-to-day. So I just want to do a quick time check and see whether at this point am I meant to be taking questions or am I meant to, would you like me to continue? I just want to check.
It would be lovely to continue, because I think it's very interesting that everyone here, then how you take forward the idea of the eulogy and of course distilling the 5 values you talk about.
Okay, so I'm going to say that firstly, I'm just going to describe how these values come about. So when I looked at each of these countries, let's say I look at Japan, and I see the way respect permeates every part of Japanese society. All the way in India, I'm not surprised that I'm here with the India Leadership Academy speaking about spirituality, because faith and spirituality, just like respect in Japan, faith and spirituality permeate every part of Indian society. And so when you think about your values, you can see parts of the world that embody those values really to a whole nother level. And you can see is how would it be if I bring that level of respect into my life? Or how would it be if I bring that level of spirituality or honesty or health or excellence? And so the eulogy idea is simply that it helps you think about, what do I want said at my deathbed? What would that article look like that goes out into the newspaper and says this person that we are so sad to have lost had this, or left this legacy behind? And then the way you're living your life, instead of thinking about your next promotion or up until your retirement or up until even your whichever job you're in, you're then thinking about, right now, how do I want to set myself up so the rest of my life is speaking the language or telling the story I want it to tell? We call this moment of the pandemic the Great Reset, but how are you going to press that reset button? What are you choosing at this point so that it's not being chosen for you, just like everything else seems to be chosen for us, our circumstances, our parents, where we're born, how it's done. But at this point, what are you choosing? And this is a really pivotal point. I'm really glad that we're having this conversation right now. And I'm glad you're on the screen with me, Shubhraj.
No, and Dr. Mandeep, if you like you say in your book, you've traversed 100 countries and kind of the values that you discovered. So you said Japan, there's respect, there's faith and spirituality. In India, is there a common thread amongst all that kind of defined how these values actually manifest themselves?
Yes, I would say there's a sense of wanting to be like humanity evolving all the time to be better and better and better than it was yesterday. And even if we just concentrate on 1% better than we were yesterday, that is already more than enough. Like, not to put your goals and your ideals so high that they become unachievable or that they deflate you, but rather to think, yesterday I reacted like this and tomorrow I'm going to react like this, because a failure, what is the definition of a failure? A failure is only if you haven't learned. That is it. In fact, the most empowering leaders are those leaders who allow us to fail. If you really want to make some great innovation or great leap forward, you have to allow yourself to fail at times. And then all you need in those times is the courage to be able to accept, not to see it as a personal failure, not to see it as you failing, but simply as you learning, growing, and evolving. So I think that the similarity that I see around the world is this wanting to evolve, but how we do it, I think it almost requires us to be courageous leaders in our workplace, for us to lead from within our workplace. The onus and the responsibility is not on anyone else. It's really not on your boss or the 3 bosses above you or the CEO. It is on you.
And clearly, like you said, the Great Reset has put a reset on how we think about leading up or down, right? So how's that? Have you sort of had a sense of how that has also changed the way corporate settings view spirituality?
That it's, I think corporate settings, normally the word spirituality is not really used in corporate settings. You can see my career has been fairly corporate, and the number of times I've heard the word, and if I say spirituality, even, at least in the past, it wasn't perceived as necessary. or a domain that you should be bringing into the workplace. Mm-hmm. But recently, I've seen those organizations that are really successful, like, for example, that whole IQ, EQ organizational decency quotient. That was a conversation with Ajay Banga of MasterCard, the CEO of MasterCard. I've seen just in the last few weeks that those organizations that are very clear about their supply chain and have a very clean supply chain are the ones that are progressing and progressing fast. So, for example, eating in a place that you know that the food has just been grown outside, or they're getting it completely locally produced. There are no pesticides. There is no there's a sense of this is being made or being produced in the way that's complete harmony of its environment. We are seeing climate change at a level that we've never seen before. We're seeing levels of heat and fire and floods that we've never seen before. We cannot deny this. And unless we're in harmony, and I would say that's spirituality, to be in complete harmony with your body and with your planet, that only then are we really going to see then we're thriving. So pursuing success and cutting out, as Harish said before, it's like having autoimmune diseases or cutting off our soul in order to pursue what our mind is saying. Or, it's almost like chopping off your right arm instead of using just your left arm. Or even growing something. If you're not aware of the moon cycles and the planetary cycles and trusting how the earth needs to replenish itself, then that level of distrust, or the level of which we're trying to control and micro control, I think is almost cutting off our own foundation.
And you do see a correlation with successful businesses being value driven. And I think, do you believe that is actually now taking spirituality into the workplace without, like you said, making it overtly something that they're aware of?
100%. It is working with true integrity throughout, like having complete alignment throughout the whole organization. So yes, you don't have to use the word spirituality because it can put people off. But what you can do is, and I've done this with so many organizations, I find that when organizations become really clear about what they stand for, and then they communicate that well, and they recruit according to that, it brings a level of alignment. Because as someone said earlier to this in today, that when we're working for something much greater than ourselves, it's like a different energy possesses us. You don't feel like you're going to work. Work shouldn't feel like a job. Exactly. It becomes a vibrational point. And at that point, you find that how you work is drastically different. And I wouldn't call it work. I would call it your passion. And when you walk in, when you log it, yes, go on. Sorry.
No, I think that's very important in today's context as well, isn't it? Where we're all working remotely, but we're still needing to find a purpose to continue what we're doing.
Yes, but do we need to continue what we're doing, or do we need to change what we're doing? Do we need to bring in that level of purpose, mission, passion? And that's in us. You don't even need to necessarily have a drastic change. The change in your mindset is all you need, and all the other things would just fall into place. And your world would change instantly. It isn't even some big decision that has to create the change. You making your mindset change will change everything else. And that's what I mean about the values. It's like sometimes people can feel like, well, how do I make this mindset change? Or where do I start? Or which direction do I go in? For that to feel really in alignment with what matters to you, what you truly, not even just believe in, what your foundation is. For it to be in alignment with that, and almost like what's operating your subconscious, you open it up, you look at it, and then you make a choice. Is this serving me? Or is it that I have to choose something different? And that process of choosing your values, taking you through that, and coming out with those 5 values that are prioritized really brings clarity to what is operating you in your subconscious.
And finally, when looking at organizations and institutions you've interacted with who've done this successfully, what have the outcomes been?
Firstly, when they're recruiting, especially young people are attracted and they stay. What we are finding is that all the traditional things that seem to matter, like money or working conditions or whatever, they matter less to young people. Young people actually want their values to be met. They want it to matter to them. And so when a company does this process successfully, how they recruit, who they recruit, and how long they stay it just pays off in dividends. So you don't have to count the time and the pennies and everything now. You find that it actually serves your purpose in the long, long, long term.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Mandeep Rai, for that fabulous insight, because I think the idea of building value-driven organizations really changes the dynamic of the workplace.
In a very practical way.
Thank you. And just a quick reminder, and thank you so much to everyone, that the Indian Leadership Academy is also now looking at spirituality and corporate spirituality and spirituality coaching as a very, very serious certification. So if you go to your chat box, you can also look at how you can sign up for the course. During the course of the event, if you do sign up quickly, you also avail of a discount using the coupon Freedom 75. Dr. Mandeep Rai was also saying some very interesting things about how you can take spirituality to the workplace, how it changes the dynamic. Thank you so much. And of course, if you have any questions, you can also throw them into the chat box, and you can reach out to Dr. Mandeep through ILA.
Thank you.
Also, to remind everyone who's logged in, you can also continue blogging, giving your feedback, whatever you've heard from our speakers, by looking at the chat box and finding that link and just blogging. We're also live on YouTube. You can also leave comments on Facebook and Google. Over to you, Manju.
Shiv, our trivia team is also ready with some sizzling surprises over gift vouchers and it's the right time to get in a break on that and set our brains into action. So are we ready for the trivia?
Yes, Manju.
Yes. So let's welcome Neha and Kiran for the trivia.
Thank you, Manju. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Manju. Thank you, Shiv. Thank you to all the previous speakers. I think we all have been learning since 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and so diligently chatting as well. You know, all the active people who have been putting in their comments. Thank you so much. We are here to progress further in our timeline. So moving on to a little bit further in ancient times, my question to you now is, he was a teacher, philosopher, and spiritual leader. He is believed to have lived and taught around modern-day Nepal and India from about the 6th to 4th century BC. Identify this leader. So your options are Siddhartha Gautama, Vardhamana, Mahavir, and Ajitanatha. Your time has started. I can see a lot of options coming in.
Kiran, before even you could announce all the options, people had started putting in their inputs in the chat box, and we are receiving a lot of inputs. We have crossed more than almost 44 inputs in the chat box.
Amazing. I think the picture must have given it away.
Easy. Exactly. This is fairly an easy one for everyone to give a chance to give right answer.
Yes, yes.
All right, and our time ends here. And let's see what's the right answer.
As you all guessed very correctly, it's Siddhartha Gautama. Now we're going to be moving further in our timeline, and since we've now spoken about workspace spirituality as well, Neha is going to be asking you questions on modern spirituality. Over to you, Neha.
Thank you, Kiran. Thanks a lot. So moving on with our timeline, we'll be moving with our next question, and it's appearing on your screen. Are we all ready for the question? Can you all show the thumbs up? Both the thumbs ups. All right, let's see what's the next question. We all know Swami Vivekananda. Which of these ideas did Swami Vivekananda espouse in all his life? Option 1, have faith in yourself. Option 2, never to live life of secrecy. Option 3, live life of integrity. And option 4, all of the above answers. And your time starts now. So Kiran, I think Swami Vivekananda has been the ideal and most influential spiritual leader from India and then we have been reading a lot about him since our childhood, isn't it? And his speech in Chicago has been the world famous.
Yeah, I think he's one of the most influential leaders that we have all grown hearing stories about. There are books about Vivekananda and his teachings, which have influenced not only Indian people, but across the globe as well. So we have received almost 47 chats so far. Amazing participation, guys.
I think our time ends here. And let's see what's the right answer. So this is one of the famous quotes of Swami Vivekananda, which is my favorite too. And the answer is all of the above. He believed in all three options that I mentioned about. So I hope you all had great time in this round of trivia. But don't worry, we'll be meeting you again in another few times, sometime. So till then, enjoy all the sessions and see you once again. Bye-bye. Over to you, Manju and Shiv.
Thank you, Neha. I hope you are noting the winners of the session. It's going to be a very tough competition. So moving on. Thank you, Neha, and thank you, Kiran. Moving on. I hope you remember what Kaushik Mahapatra, our mentor, spoke about the myths about spirituality, the 4 breaking myths. And one of them was spirituality is not for corporates. And today, with all the global speakers, the spiritual leaders, what they have taught us, we have learned even more greater wisdom in terms of spirituality and the corporate wisdom. So to welcome our leader to speak about corporate spiritual responsibility. We need to acknowledge that humans have their souls. They are not just resources. And they want to have work that is meaningful and useful. And we need to be a part of something bigger. So let's welcome our mentor, Kaushik, to speak about the next wave of management paradigm. Please put your hands together with more energy and earn more wisdom. Please welcome Kaushik.
Thank you, Manju. Thank you, and a big namaste to all of you. Right? I hope you can hear me okay, you can see me okay, and you can feel me okay. If you can feel me okay, give me a shake hand. Give me a shake hand if you're feeling me okay. You can feel me okay. Give me a shake hand. Give me a shake hand. Give me a high five. Give me a high five. Give me a high five. Give me a high 10 now. And high 10, a big namaste on this Independence Day. I must say, you guys are very powerful. On my first spiritual conclave, I was not able to concentrate. There was too much of download happening. This and that and this and that. I was tired, too tired. So before I begin, let's salute all of you. 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 Do this along with me. Do this for you, the learner in you, the learner in you. And for all those marvelous speakers, all those spiritual teachers, can we do this along with me? Can we do this along with me? Can we do this along with me? Just repeat with me and say, the highest in me, do it, 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 do it. Have some fun, guys, have some fun. The highest in me, repeat with me, the highest in me, bows down, the highest in you.
The highest in you.
The highest in me bows down to the highest in you. Thank you, speakers, once again for sharing that unconditional wisdom. It means a lot for us and a lot for all our learners. And for me, I've been taking tons and tons of notes. When I was preparing for this speech, I'm in my mom's place, and I went to my mom and I asked her, you've been a teacher, right? What do you think is spirituality? And she told me this, my dear friends, and I wanted to enact that for you. Can we do this? Okay, perfect. Can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? Do this for me. And do this for me. Do this for me. Do this for me. Do this for me. I will look at this one and look at that one. This one, my dear friends, this one, you can shake it a bit, shake it a bit, shake it a bit, shake it a bit. This one, my dear friends, you're actually unlocking something. You're unlocking something. You're unlocking a key. This is you, my dear friends. This is you, yourself, your soul. And this, my dear friends, do this along with me. Do this along with me. Is reality. Is reality. Is reality. When your spirits and your soul, they meet, and you can create an S here now. Create an S. Create an S. Create an S. Create an S. That, my dear friends, is spirituality. You can do this like this. If you don't see an S, you can still do this. That is spirituality. When yourself meets reality, spirituality is born. As Dr. Mandeep said, it is inherent, guys. You cannot measure it. And before I begin to share my views on corporate spiritual responsibility, this is a new jargon that people have been hearing in corporates, right? In the last 4 to 5 years, it's being a latest trend, and I'm going to share my views, some of my programs, which I did on corporate spiritual responsibilities. And what do people think, how they accept it or not? I'm going to share that. But before that, one of the things which I have realized in my spiritual journey is the fact that spirituality is the only answer to the unanswered, my dear friends. Spirituality is the only answer to the unanswered. In life, when you're not getting any direction, when there are tons and tons of questions which are unanswered, people tend to go to spirituality. People tend to become spiritual. And that's why, like most of us get to spirituality only after probably 50s or 60s. We have never challenged our life in such a way. And that's why our spiritual journey is delayed. And to me, spiritual journey delayed is like spiritual journey denied. And I would definitely encourage everyone to be a little open and look at yourself and start that journey from now on. Now, in terms of corporate spiritual responsibilities, people here, most of you are from corporates. You would have heard that famous word, CSR. CSR. What does CSR mean, my dear friends? In our days, we used to call it corporate social responsibility. And corporate social responsibility was to help the weaker sections of the society. We used to pull out 5% or 10% of the revenue of our sales and contribute to the society. But now comes one more CSR, and that's called corporate spiritual responsibility. When we talk about corporate spiritual responsibility, we talk about a higher purpose. Why is that corporate existing? What's the higher purpose? Why is it existing? Why are the employees existing in that corporate? And to me, the biggest best practice in terms of corporate spiritual responsibility is to move towards something called as mission and vision to a higher purpose of an organization. Every time I visit a company, I visit an organization internationally in India, I must say that 90% of people don't even know what's the vision and mission statement. People who are working now, I can challenge that to you. A lot of people just go to the website. Oh, this is my vision. This is my mission. No surprises, my dear friends, because the vision statement and the mission statement has never been internalized. The vision and mission statements mostly is there in a website. No one talks about vision and mission statements. Now, corporate social responsibility says, if you don't even know what's your mission and vision, how would you even have a sense of belongingness to that organization? How do you even know what's the higher purpose of that organization? Now, the first and foremost transition when you go to corporate social responsibility is to transition from a mission and vision statement to something very, very close to employees' heart, very, very simple in terms of understanding. Maybe you are a food and an agriculture company. You might say, as Dr. Mandeep said, hey, can I build something which is free of pesticides? Can I build a country or a city or a state where no one will sleep without food? This is something which is more like a purpose-driven organization. So that's the first change, my dear friends. The second change, when we are talking about now that your higher purpose is clear for that organization. By the way, I have now seen some of the cities, some of the states, some of the countries. Let's say, for example, a country also runs like an organization. And if a country says, my purpose as a country is this, think about the people in the country. They will drive towards it. At some point of time, India had this common goal. The higher purpose of our country was to be a spiritual place. And that's why we attracted a lot of people. I know things are changing. And same thing countries can do for themselves. Think about it. A country serves with a purpose, saying, hey, this is our purpose, communicates that day in and day out. And think about it, how the people change their mindsets. And everyone would start living that purpose, living that purpose, right? Perfect, right? Makes sense, guys, makes sense, right? Okay, now the second thing is, of course, when you have a higher purpose, you need people. And of course, when you want people, you have to hire. When you're hiring, the typical hiring process in an organization is, we hire people who are like us. We only hire people who are like us. I did an interview. Oh, Rajesh sounds like me. I hire Rajesh. Dr. Mandeep, I don't know whether I can hire Dr. Mandeep, but Dr. Mandeep sounds like me. She thinks the same way. I will hire Dr. Mandeep. I'll go to Janvi and say, I'll hire you, but not Riti. Because Riti doesn't think like me, doesn't feel like me. Now, the next change about corporate spiritual responsibility is to hire people who are unlike you. Is also to hire people who are unlike you. Only when you have people around you who are unlike you, you create an environment where there are diverse perspectives. And then when there are diverse perspectives, you grow as an organization, my dear friends. And this needs a complete mindset change. Can you do that along with me? Can you do that along with me? Mindset. Needs to change. Be soft on yourself. Be soft. Mindset has to change. My request to all of you, when you're hiring people, don't just hire people who are like you. You will create one more you, which we don't want. You are enough, my dear friends. We need people who are unlike you, so that we create an ecosystem where there is variety, there is different perspectives, and we all grow together. The third thing, Manju already talked about it, and Sadhguru, our famous guru, the whole world knows Sadhguru. Sadhguru says, and not just Sadhguru, a lot of gurus have already told this, my dear friends. Hey, you corporate guys, why do you call humans resources? Who asked you to call a human a resource? We are not resources. We are not like desks and benches that you will call as resources. Gone are those days, guys, where humans are called resources. The true spiritual responsibility, if you have to treat humans like humans, not anyone else. We are people. We are humans. We are great souls. We are never resources. So the way you act now with your corporate social responsibility is to make sure you have that shift in thinking, that they are not resources. A lot of people ask, So Riti, can you tell me what is the head count? As if, only head is counted, whole body, right? We have a soul also, body also, mind also, right? Perfect. Head count. I don't know where these words came from, right? The fourth one, my dear friends, we talk about inclusiveness. Corporate spiritual responsibility believes in inclusiveness. If there can be 50% of CEOs, men, and 50% of CEOs, women, why not? If there can be 33.33% of men being CEOs, 33.33 women as CEOs, and 33.33 as transgenders, why not? This is a different game altogether, my dear friends. Are you hiring people who are physically challenged? Are you hiring people based on your judgment, based on how they physically behave, how they physically act, what they wear, which country are they from? Gone are those days. Talent is everywhere, my dear friends. This is an information age where everyone is talented. It doesn't matter which continent you belong to, Africa or Asia or India. When I speak to a lot of my African friends, I feel they are so good. They're so talented. They're so talented. So inclusiveness has to be there in your mind. Right? How can I create an environment where, okay, let me hire some people at least who are physically challenged. You never know. The mind is very sharp. They can add a lot of value to you. Why not, my dear friends? The final thing is about also building a great culture. And when we talk about corporate spiritual responsibilities, when you're trying to create a culture, a lot of best practices are already happening. And one of such best practices is the Hygge way of creating a workplace. It's from Scandinavia, right? It's from Denmark. It's called Hygge. And it's pronounced Hygge. Now, what's in Hygge kind of workplace? A Hygge kind of workplace is a culture, is a setup where everything in the office, you love it. This world is all about millennials, my dear friends. And if you're creating a traditional workplace where it's so boring, you want them to sit for 10 hours, right? And not even see your faces, right? With all those cabinets and stuff like that, things are not going to work. So if you're really corporate, spiritually responsible, you have to create such workplaces. And believe me, it takes less in terms of cost. We have created, right, one corporate social responsibility based, an infrastructure, and believe me, it was 10-20% less costing wise. So you can create such environments. And then final thing as a best practice is to have appreciation, my dear friends. The only thing corporates lack today is lack of appreciation. When I go to corporates, 90% of people don't even have a smile. I don't know what's happening, my dear friends. What is the point working there? What is the point? There's no point working like this. No one is happy in that organization. The workplace, I don't want to use the word, but it is like something which is very, very discouraging. No one would love to work. If I saw my kids that workplace, they would never love to work. Why are we creating such workplaces where people are not smiling? There's no appreciation. And that's where the best practice which people generally do is typically they have weekly gratitude meeting for 30 minutes where, let's say, peer-to-peer appreciation happens on the face. Let's say Sashikant appreciating Sheena appreciating Sashikant, and having that gratitude. And remember, this is not coming from your manager. This is about saying, hey, Janvi, the talk you did today was lovely. And I learned this genuinely, honestly. And my gratitude to you in front of all. So that's what a gratitude meeting is all about, my dear friends. And this is one more practice where corporate social responsibility based organizations do. So just to wrap it up, whatever I just said, my few things is all about The first one is about vision and mission. So mission and vision becomes a higher purpose. That's it. And you can, by the way, a lot of people ask me, is it possible? Try to do at least a little bit, and you will see that's happening. Find out what's your higher purpose. People who are entrepreneurs, have a startup, you can easily do it. We are hiring people who are unlike us. Human is not a resource. Human resource to people. Being inclusive is being human. We talked about it. Creating a hygge culture. A hygge workplace looks like this. So exciting. And having your gratitude meetings. If not daily, at least weekly once or monthly once. So to me, this is the way we can adopt corporate social responsibility in our organizations. And I'm very sure that we will have a better place to work. And we will enjoy every bit of work. So thank you for being so enthusiastic about learning. And it was a privilege to be with you for this last 20 minutes and talking about corporate spiritual responsibility. I feel everyone here has that responsibility to make our workplaces a better workplace so that not just everyone enjoys and gives maximum. And that's how we can change this world. Thank you. And over to you and Manju and Shiv. I would love to take some questions. Okay, give me a high five, man, do this, guys. This is for you guys, right? Keep doing this, guys. Don't feel bored in this journey. Don't feel bored. I know the first time it feels like that, but then enjoy. You smile like this every time. Like Coach Antonio does, he smiles every time. Perfect. Nice. Anyone has a question?
We do have a lot of messages in the chat box. Sahil says appreciation is linked to self-contentment. Satya says great insights. Ramakrishna says this calls for a massive mindset change and we need much needed better workplaces. A lot of messages to support your thoughts.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
So audience, if you still have some questions, please continue putting your questions in the chat box, messages. And thank you and much grateful for your insight, Kaushik Mahapatra today. And indeed, it was really quite a mesmerizing day. We had a lineup of leaders and speakers and whatnot. We still have 80% of the participants. So what does that deserve now?
I think they all deserve a smile, right? So everyone, come back, and give me a smile before I go back, and do it nicely. Right? Do it. That kind of smile, that kind of spiritual smile. Very good. Keep shaking, guys. Keep shaking, and thank you for that gift once again. Over to you, Manju.
Thank you so much once again. So now it's time to make some sounds of spirituality. We already heard from our Delhi NCR team about the spiritual sounds. But before that, can we all make some sounds, unmute yourself and give a big round of applause for past 4 hours of learning and wisdom from all the leaders. Shall we all unmute and give a big round of applause? Come on, let's make a big sound of joy. I really enjoyed that sound.
I was actually playing that music as well.
Unmute everybody now. Like recharged? Yes, I'm recharged too. That was
Lovely.
so now
Yes, and as Manju just did, she got all of us involved with sound and rhythm. We're now going to go across to Asya Shivaya, who's a Russian performer of Indian classical music, a disciple of Sri Pandit Kailash Sharma. She's performed around the world. And without much ado, it's over to you, Asya, to give us the performance that we were all looking out for.
Thank you very much, everyone. It's a pleasure for me to perform here. I'm very happy to meet so many spiritual leaders and be in this environment. I'm so grateful for that. Thank you for inviting me. And today I would like to play for you Evening Rag Hansanvani. So hope you like it. Please listen. Thank you very much for listening. Namaskar.
Wow. Thank you so much, Asha. And it almost feels sacrilegious kind of stepping in and speaking after that beautiful sound. And it's kind of permeated everyone. I think there's just a sense of serenity and calmness across everyone I've seen logged in and all the messages as well. And so that brings us to our next speaker, who's also very much in connection with the silence and a higher level, Dr. Nitanta Shevere, who is a certified Ayush doctor. She's also a trustee to the Brahm Vidya Saratsang, which has been practicing classical homeopathy for 25 years. And the learning and teaching of Brahm Vidya for the past 2 decades, which really incorporates simple and effective methods based on breath and thought. So fabulous to kind of go there after that absolutely mesmerizing performance by Asya. So it's over to you, Dr. Nitanta, to take us through the path to freedom.
Sure. Thank you so much, host. Yes. And greetings. And I wish a great evening to all the lovely participants. And it is a moment of joy to get connected with so many individuals across the globe. And there cannot be any better day than today to talk on freedom, right? So freedom is a beautiful dream. It is a destination and it is a wonderful journey. All of us just love freedom and we desire freedom. It can be a child or an adult. We just love freedom. And the word freedom carries positive vibrations. And so freedom brings us love, joy, peace, and harmony. And when we say freedom, all of us love to breathe freely. We want to think freely and we want to live freely. That is the magic, right? Now I shall just share a hypothetical situation. And there is a beautiful golden cage with so many luxuries on one hand, and there is freedom on another hand. And if all of us are asked to choose in between these two, I am very sure we would choose freedom. And that's the magic of freedom. So having understood this, let us understand about freedom in a little deeper sense. So just for the understanding purpose, let us divide freedom into 2 types. Type 1 is a relative freedom and type 2 is the eternal freedom, right? So type 1 or the relative freedom is known to all of us. Rather, I would say all of us have experienced it time and again. So to understand it further, I shall share a case history with you. Now here is an individual and he is down with severe headache, right? So he pops in a painkiller and his headache is vanished and he feels, wow, I'm feeling free at the level of body. After a month or so, he gets to read about Delta Plus virus. He is flooded with thoughts of fear, anxiety, insecurity, etc. Again, he does some remedy. Again, he feels, wow, I'm feeling good at the level of mind. A month passes by, and in his handset, there is a notification that an installment is due towards the bank loan. So he does the needful and he feels Wow, I'm free of the financial tension. 6 months down the line, at his workplace, he faces a challenge. Again, he tries to search for some solution and he feels, wow, I am feeling free. Here, he realizes that no doubt he's getting freedom, no doubt he's feeling joy, but this freedom or this joy is short lived. It is temporary, it is not long lasting. And this is the experience with all of us, I'm sure about this. So, freedom appears like a mirage. We feel we are almost there, and we happen to reach there, and when we reach, it appears to be an illusion. That's the case. Let us go further. Now, we as human beings have progressed a lot, and we are in the rocket science age, and we are in the age of artificial intelligence. But 2019 and a virus called COVID challenged the entire human race. And all of us got restricted to our path. Our travel got restricted. Our movement got restricted. So, a time is come to take a pause and contemplate with it. Now, I shall share a couple of additional cases. Now, here is an individual and he has made decent amount of money for himself and family. But he feels he should collect more and more and more. Here is a happy couple. They are very happy in their own home, sweet home. But they look at the neighbor and they feel they want to purchase yet another home. Now here is a group of collegians. They have a good handset. But they get to know that in the market, some new version is come up. They rush to it. The same is the case with giant companies or small companies. More revenue, more business, more expansion, more offices. This more and more and more, it just doesn't end. But I'm sure we all would agree. This more is good for our progress, but at the same time, this more is not fetching us the good freedom which does last for a long time. It doesn't fetch us, unfortunately. Also, it cannot help us to transcend the human consciousness. It cannot help us to transcend the limitations of human consciousness. All of us have progressed really a lot, but yet we haven't yet conquered the death. Here, I shall like to introduce about eternal freedom. So to experience the eternal freedom, we need to get in touch with that or with something which itself is eternally free, which itself is limitless, boundless, everlasting, never-ending, eternal. So having understood this, what is that thing? And that is divine light or divine wisdom or divine spark or divine consciousness, or we can call it as prana energy or life force or supremo or supreme power or God. Any name you may choose doesn't matter. But this is the only thing which is eternally free. It is abundant. It has everything. It has all the knowledge. It has all the power. So, to experience the eternal freedom, we need to get in touch with this divine light, and we start learning from this divine light. And this light itself guides us further on the path of eternal freedom. These are the steps. So, having understood this, let us find out, where can I search this light? Do I have to travel all across the world? No. I have to travel within me, and there I shall find this light or divine light. What is the proof that it is there within all of us? So here is the understanding. Right now, my heart is beating, right? So is yours. I am breathing, my respiration is on, so is yours. My brain is working, so is yours. Who is doing this? All of us are engaged in this session, but there is something alive within me, and it is alive within you as well. There is something this alive, alert, and awake, and that is manifesting through our body and mind. So, to experience this, I have to go near it. So, having understood this, now what is the system or what are the methods to get in touch with that light of divine wisdom? So, this is a spiritual conclave, and so many esteemed speakers, they have been narrating and they have been explaining since 2 o'clock. Various methods got discussed on this global platform, and here at this point I shall like to introduce yet another beautiful method, and that is Brahma Vidya. It is an ancient science, and this science is based on the energy of breath and the energy of thought, because these are the basic fundamental elements of our life, right? So the entire focus is on making our breathing right and making our thinking right. And so we learn pranayam, 8 spiritual breathing exercises, simple techniques of meditation, and beautiful but hidden laws of life. And as we start practicing them, we get established in order, and so we feel free from disorder. We get established in health, and so we feel free from diseases. We get established in success, so we feel free from failures. We get established in joy, and so we feel free from unhappiness. We get established in peace, and so we feel free from restlessness or uneasiness. So to experience all this, we need to invest minimum 20 minutes for breathing exercises and 20 minutes for the practice of meditation, so that we enjoy a better and free life. Having understood this, now let us understand the science behind the breathing exercises and meditation, right? So as we start practicing all these breathing exercises, they provide a robust exercise to our entire respiratory system. And our breathing becomes right. And so we inhale more amount of oxygen. And this oxygen purifies the body from within. Number 1. Along with every breath, we inhale prana energy. Being energy, it has positive prana and the negative prana. Now, positive doesn't mean it is good and negative doesn't mean it is bad. They both are equal and they both are required to complete the circle. Also, too much of positive and too much of negative is also bad. So, with the help of right breathing, the balance gets established between positive prana and the negative prana. And this balance, it gets percolated to various organs in the body. It also gets percolated to crores and crores of cells which are there in our body. And that is the reason all our cells and all the organs and all the systems in the body, they work at their best. And so we enjoy health and so we feel free, say from headache or joint pains or backache or even diabetes, hypertension or any kind of skin disease, etc. Having understood this, let us go to mind, right? Mind is always compared to a monkey because we keep on jumping from one thought to another, etc. And we don't even realize what is going to be my next thought. And unless and until we transcend mind, eternal freedom is a far-fetched dream. So let us understand a little bit more about mind. Now, mind is a combination of positive thoughts and negative thoughts. So whatever are the positive thoughts, they always do good to us, to our body, to our mind, to our life. But we are also flooded with thoughts of fear, insecurity, depression, disappointment, anger, hatred, etc. And they really take a toll on our immunity and on our entire body. And in medical terms, we call it as psychosomatic disease. And here, the meditation would play a key role. With the help of meditation, the intensity of the negative thoughts, it will go on reducing. Number one. Number two, the positive thoughts or the thoughts of the truth, that is health, success, joy, peace, love, youth, etc., they would start blossoming. And that is the reason happy hormones, they get induced in our body. Happy chemicals, they get induced in our brain. And thus, we start getting a sense of well-being. Meditation is that important, right? Now, the third part, the hidden laws of life. Now, this universe is huge. There are so many stars, planets, animals, plants, and all of us, that is human kingdom. This COVID, dear darling COVID-19, did not affect plants or animals to that extent, but it did challenge the human race. And that is the reason now it is important that we learn the hidden laws of life. Because there is a perfect order and rhythm at the level of the universe. Because the cycle of the day and night is perfect, the cycle of the seasons is perfect, the high tide, low tide is perfect. So as we start learning these laws and as we start living by these laws, our life also starts getting rhythmic. And we vibrate with the rhythm of the universe. Now, in toto, it benefits all of us to a great extent. How? So, in day-to-day life, our efficiencies go up. So, our concentration is better, confidence is better, accuracy is better, and that is the reason the productivities, better. Also, it triggers the creativity within us. So many of our students say this. It also triggers the out of the box solution, even in our day to day life. It also helps to balance various emotions because all of us operate in a team. It can be at the level of family or workplace or friends or society or neighbors. Everywhere it's a teamwork. So if the emotions are very well balanced, the entire team works in a perfect way and all progress, all enjoy. That is the important thing. Then our children, we have a children course for 10 to 18 years and they get immensely benefited. They become very strong to stand against the stress. The womanhood is cherished because the women, they get immensely benefited throughout their phase, like the phase of puberty or during menstrual cycle or pregnancy or even menopause. It becomes gentle, right? So it is a holistic science and it helps us to a large extent. Having understood this, where can I learn this? So Brahma Vidya Sadhak Charitable Trust is the institution and Mr. Jayant Divekar is our chief trustee. He himself is an IITian, IIM graduate and we call him as modern spiritual guru. We have a board of trustees, more than 200 teachers, hundreds of volunteers and thousands of people. They come together and practice this. More than 2 lakh students have learnt this Vidya across the globe. And all the teachers and volunteers, they work with sense of service and do not take any remuneration. Now we are talking about freedom. So it is a non-religious institution and right now we have so many students from various religions across the globe learning this. We are talking about freedom. So there are no restrictions like you must eat this or you must not eat this or you must wear this. No. If you are breathing and if you are thinking, you are the right candidate to learn Brahma Vidya. Now we have many modules, but I shall just take one module, taking into consideration the time. That this is a basic course for 18 plus age group, and you don't have to take sannyas or you don't have to go to Himalayas to get free or to feel free. You have to just sit across the table, log into brahmavidya.net website, and there you will get lot many timetables. So whatever is suitable to you, log in and start learning. For US, for UK, we have definite and separate time zone for classes. And some practical part is covered, some theory part is covered. All the teachers are well trained and they demonstrate the breathing exercises and they get it done from you. They do a guided meditation session as well. And during this lockdown, we have done many videos, many free sessions through our Facebook page and through our YouTube. That is Brahma Vidya Sadhak Sangh Facebook, Brahma Vidya Sadhak Sangh, our YouTube channel. Just log in and you can see so many testimonials and many other things. So now the question arises that if an individual feels that I don't believe in God, but is Brahma Vidya for me? Answer is yes. Someone may say, I just want to enjoy freedom in my day-to-day life. So is Brahma Vidya for me? Yes. Someone may say, I have learnt so many other methods, but out of curiosity, I want to check what is Brahma Vidya. Is it for me? Yes. Because we are talking about freedom and spirituality is freedom. Because spirituality is nothing but experiencing the spirit within. That's it. It just doesn't matter what is your age, how do you look, what is your status, what do you wear. No. Just getting in touch with that source inside us, learning from it, and getting free. And is freedom possible for a human being? 100%. Why? Because it is the design of the supreme power. It is the structure created by the supreme power so we can experience the freedom. And all of us are blessed with the capacity to feel the freedom. So all of us can feel the freedom or experience the freedom. And while learning Brahma Vidya, we can feel the relative freedom as well as we can move towards the eternal freedom. So there is a balance. Having said so, I wish all of you a great freedom at the level of the body, mind, personal life, professional life, spiritual life, social life, everywhere. Because freedom is vital. And freedom brings us hope, love, joy, and that great bond gets created. Having said so, my sincere gratitude to the Indian Leadership Academy. Thank you, Arun. Thank you, Jannavi. The hosts are wonderful. All the esteemed speakers, they are so wonderful. And this is a great exchange of knowledge. And sincere thanks again, because all across the globe, everyone loves peace, loves love. Everyone wants health, joy, and freedom. So, I really wish a great freedom to all of you. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Dr. Nitanta.
Gratitude.
So freedom and divinity within us. And of course, the Indian Leadership Academy is very grateful that you joined us. And I just wanted to take this moment to also hand over to Ritu from ILA to also talk about something that's very akin to the program, which is the Spiritual Life Coach program that ILA offers as well. So over to you, to ILA team.
Thank you, Shiv, and thank you, Manju. Hope you guys are having a good time. Nitanta just gave us a very good example. She said that spirituality is nothing but connecting with yourself within and creating a balance. And I think we all are looking for something like that, in whatever acts we're doing in our life. So a great insight by Nitanta. Thank you. And moving ahead, I think spirituality is the ultimate way of life. What do you say, Ankita?
Yeah, I feel spirituality is the ultimate way of life, and we at ILA will take you to this wonderful journey of spirituality.
Exploring the mysteries of the universe and the wonders of the existence.
Explore the meaning of what you do and what you want to achieve in life.
As you've been hearing out all our speakers on spiritual leadership, we have something which will help you get started on the path of spiritual leadership. Ankita, I think it's time for us to announce our brand new certification program on becoming a spiritual coach.
So the spiritual coach is the one who is in control of his or her mental, physical, and emotional and spiritual aspects. And our program to be a spiritual coach starts on 25th of September. It's a 2-weekend program, and it's going to be for 4 full days from morning 9:30 a.m. to evening 5:30 p.m. And where do we get started on the benefits of this program, Ritu?
Well, to start with, this program gives you a 32 hours of learning on spiritual coaching, which will be taken by our 3 international trainers, Kaushik Mahapatra, Priti Sinha, and Brigadier Arun Gupta. We will be covering 15 plus modules here, and the certificates would be Certified Spiritual Life Coach, which will have the international accreditation from Skills Central, United Kingdom.
And the learning doesn't end with the program. After the program, we will do weekly practice sessions for a month to assist our budding spiritual coaches as they start their journey. And they will have access to our Wednesday wisdom sessions for free and will be a part of our ILA family forever.
Great, Ankita. That sounds awesome. Let us all know how we can go ahead and start to get registered on it.
So as everybody can see, this program is fully loaded and spiritual leadership is the need of the hour. So the regular price of this program is 30,000 INR, that is 410 USD. But just for the participants for the day, we have a special price that is going to be 15,000 INR, that is 205 USD, or they can even go ahead and book their seats for just 5,000 INR, that is 70 USD.
Thanks, Ankita, for letting us know the discounted price. I think it's time for all our participants here to click on the chat box and register with us. You can book your seat for a minimum of 5,000 or pay the whole amount, which is 15,000. And the links are present in our chat box. I request my team to again paste it so that our participants and our audience can go ahead and click on it. So we have another 15 minutes for you guys to go ahead and register for this program. And Ankita, let's utilize this time to go ahead and talk about our other signature programs, which Aile has been going ahead for a long time with.
Yes. So first program is being NLP, and I really apologize for this mistake in the poster. It's going to be 28th August to 5th of September. So it's going to be a 2 weekends program. So this program is NLP with mindfulness, which is itself a very powerful combination. NLP stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming, which is a hot selling course all over the world because it is something that is psychological. At the same time, it doesn't need psychology to understand. So it talks about how your brain and linguistics is connected and how by changing your language, you can change your mind. So the kind of conversations we have with our own self, the relationship we have with our own self is the same that we project all over the world, or with our families, relatives, professional people that we have in our circle. So I think first, we need to fix that relationship we have with ourselves with the help of neuro-linguistic programming. It becomes very easy through this program. You can do this. It's going to be a 2 weekends program starting from 28th of August, so 28th and 29th, and 4th and 5th September are going to be the dates for the program. And all those 4 days from morning 9:30 a.m. to evening 5:30 p.m. you'll be having the sessions with our 3 esteemed facilitators. You can see here, Kaushik Mahapatra, sir, Brigadier Arun Gupta, and Ritu Sharma itself. And to know more about this program and to register, you can take a look at the pricing of this program. That for just this conclave, we have slashed the price rates to 12,000 rupees and USD 160. So you can go ahead and register for this program. And for more details, you can connect with us, use the chat box for more. And then we have this program, Coach the Coach. I think this is going to be the best program for those people who have teaching in their blood, who want to do teaching, coaching, and who want to get started on this journey. They can already be coaching and they can already be teaching, but to officially get recognized by ICF, that is International Coaching Federation, then you can do this program. And this program is not just coming affordable at the price of 10,000 INR or USD 135. At the same time, this program can be done in just a weekend. Yes, in just 2 days, you can do this program and get started with CCE certification of ICF. You can start having your own trainings on coaching. You can have your own practice of coaching, and you can call yourself an ICF certified coach, which is a very esteemed organization in the coaching accreditation body we talk about, and you can have their certification at your hand. So this is another program we would like to talk about. And to register for the same, use the same links which are in the chat box or get connected with us through the chat box. We would love to hear from you. Over to you, Ritu.
Going ahead, our next signature program is Soft Skills Training Certification course. Artificial intelligence and machines can take over a lot of jobs, but they cannot take over the job being the human who's spiritually connected. So, our industries, we have 2 types of skills, technical skills and soft skills. Machines can never take over, our soft skills. So this program is specially made for people who are starting their career as a trainer and a coach, for housewives, or for someone who's starting all over again after a long break. It starts on the 23rd of August. It's a 7 days program. During the weekdays, it's from 6 p.m. till 9 p.m. And the 1 weekend in this program, both the days, it's 9:30 to 5:30 in the evening. This program is priced at 20,000 plus GST with 270 USD. However, right now the discounted price for all the audience here, it's 15,000 INR and 200 USD. go ahead and click on the link which is on the chat box and register yourself for this program. Moving ahead, our another signature program, it said spirituality says your purpose completes when you pass on what you have learned. So if you are someone who's passionate about teaching the world, then this is the best program for you. It is the only integrated course of training and coaching right now, which is, present in India. This is for people who also, have some kind of experience in training and coaching and are looking forward to upskilling themselves. This starts from the 21st of August. It's a 6 weekends program. It ends on the 25th of September. The accreditation bodies for this program are Skills Central UK, GAFS from United States of America, and ICF, International Coach Federation, which Ankita just spoke about. This program is priced at 45,000 plus GST and 615 USD. However, for people who are here today with us and are spending their Sunday evening with us, we have slashed down the prices for you, and it's for 30,000 INR and 410 USD. So we request all of you to go and click on the chat box and click on that payment link, book your seats with the minimum amount, or if you want, you can go ahead and pay the whole amount. In case if you think you're not able to understand that, you can get in touch with me or Ankita and or with our business development team, and we'll be more than happy to assist you. So thank you, Shiv, and it's over to you and Manju now.
Thank you so much, Ritu and Ankita. And we still have more from the Indian Leadership Academy team. This time, we are looking at the confluence where spirituality meets leadership. And that session is being led by Rishi Vadera from Indian Leadership Academy. Rishi, it's over to you. I think Rishi has to be unmuted for us to be able to hear him. Rishi, you're unmuted.
Thanks for unmuting me. All right. Thank you, Shiv. It's been a delightful day. And as Nitanta ji said, freedom. And we've started achieving freedom. And you know what? We've attained a lot of knowledge today, and which helps in freedom. And the team of Nilofer, Shreya, Yagnesh, and myself, Rishi, are grateful to ILA to have given us this global platform today as ILA partners to share our views. Our subject, the confluence, spirituality meets leadership. This indeed is a vast topic, an unending one. And here, two words are key: spirit and leader. Spirit traditionally is believed to be the animating force within us, concerned with the soul far beyond and opposed to the physical and materialistic things. A leader socially influences by maximization of the efforts to achieve a goal. Thus, the interconnectedness of spirituality and leadership in its holistic approach brings about something greater than oneself, something more than sensory experience in the world we live. And to speak on this subject, it is my privilege to host three esteemed guests in this panel: Sister Shivani, Rhonda Bryan, and Nikola Tesla, being represented by Shreya, Nilofer, and Yagnesh. To start the session, it's my privilege and request Sister Shivani, who everyone knows is a teacher in the Brahma Kumaris spiritual movement, an undergraduate and postgraduate in electronics engineering. Sister has traveled around the globe, has spoken many on the topic, promoted organ donation, has spoken about parenting programs, and given life wisdoms. I personally am indebted to her for one particular learning, which is the more turbulent the energy, less impact of your words. Think about it. The more negative the energy, you will be heard less. So on that note, I welcome Sister.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Sister, the audience and I would love to know, what is spirituality to you and how do you practice it?
See, the concept of spirituality has been misquoted and misunderstood a lot of times. To understand what is spirituality, we need to understand what is not spirituality. We need to unlearn all the myths about spirituality. Spirituality does not mean shifting from one phase of life to another or transforming the way of living completely. It means using the spiritual knowledge in your life and your current profession. For example, I met this businessman at the airport one day and he told me he wants to leave materialistic world for spirituality. I asked him, why are you leaving your world for spirituality? What will you do? He said, I will meditate and learn good knowledge. I said, that's great. But for how long? And for how many days? He asked, but then how will I attain spirituality? So I told him, let your business expand, but make sure whatever you do in your business is clean and ethical. The intention and energy you put in is pure. He said, but that's not possible. I said, then you cannot practice spirituality. One needs to understand that in order to practice spirituality, we need not shift ourselves from one phase of life to another. But spirituality is something that helps us ease our work and enjoy every moment of our life. There is no use of spiritual knowledge until you start applying it in your practical life. There was another businessman who started new factories in the name of spirituality because he wanted to give employment to people. You see, there is a change in intention. The intention is of giving and not receiving. This is called spirituality. There is another myth attached to spirituality, that the one who follows this path stays away from family. But this is not the case. Instead, spirituality is a tool that we use in our life to stay connected with our family and solve relationship issues. It brings us closer to our loved ones. There are a few points you need to remember to practice spirituality. 1. Be aware of your thoughts. Always send positive energy, irrespective of what others are doing. 2. We know almost everything. Knowledge is accessible everywhere. We just need to apply it. So try and experience everything. 3. Spirituality is enjoying the process of realizing the mistake and working upon it. So enjoy the process. Last and very important, anger is not the solution to any problem. Keep patient and find other ways of getting the work done. Don't run away from applying spirituality. My last words to the audience will be, knowledge and wisdom are two different things. Knowledge can be learned, but wisdom can only be experienced. So apply the knowledge in your life and you will become wise. Also, we are responsible for our own actions and situations. So always keep a check on your progress. These 3 questions. Where was I? Where am I? And where I want to be in the future. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, sister. And as always, you've touched our heart and our minds. So that was sister for you. And what I take away from the sister is that basically that for spirituality, one need depart from the world. One need not become a recluse. It is all about using spiritual knowledge within your life and your profession. Secondly, that we take out, and I assume the audience too, is practice, practice, and practice. Practicing anything helps, and what else can we expect more in spirituality? So, Om Shanti, sister, and thank you for sharing your time with us. And now, with that, I would call upon, from the ages, late 1800s and 1900s, physicist Nikola Tesla, who used spirituality, mastery of mind, yoga, and the harnessing of the forces of nature to completely change the world as we knew it, and respectfully and rightfully known as the man who invented the 20th century. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Nikola Tesla played by none other than our ILA partner, Yagnesh Patel.
Thank you for your great thoughts about me. But what I see myself as a wanderer of the universe within myself. My spiritual journey already started when I was a child, but I understand later in my life. Let me tell you that fact that I was a very weak physical when I was a child. And 2 to 3 times I was in a horrific situation. And you know about that at that time, if you feel sick, means you died. But what last time happened, everybody lose hope that this child will survive, except one, my heart. My heart telling me that don't think about the survival because you are here to create a magic or to create as an innovator. So during that sickness, I asked my father that, Father, maybe I will be feel alive if you allow me to learn engineering. So my father have a hope that, okay, if you become a physically fit, I will allow you to learn engineering. And from that time, within a 2 to 3 weeks, exponential recovery happened. Everybody thinks about this is the miracle, but what I understand for myself that this is my heart intelligence or my spirit who heals my physical body. And that time, I started following my heart intelligence rather than the technical intelligence. Now, do you remember the incident of the earthquake in the Colorado in 1898? That was an experiment of an engineering piece, a small piece called oscillator, which I made, and it can fit in my pocket. So what I was trying to do, that trying to match up the vibration and frequency of the earth with that oscillator, and that shock up the whole entire building. But my intention was to create an energy for whole world with wireless activity and without any kind of expense or kind of a payment. But that was a fail. So what I understand from that time, that if you want to understand the secret of the universe, you have to understand the universe in a term of energy, frequency, and vibration.
Talking about energy, vibration, and frequency, I can't stop myself but ask you about our Indian spiritual leader, Swami Vivekananda ji. I believe you had some connection with him. You had some friends. Can you just share some light about that, please?
Yeah, sure. Before that experiment, in 1895, I met him. And he helped me a lot to easy my process to innovate and all those things. So he helped me to connect my mind, body, and soul to innovate more and to create a humanity for better future. So what I want to tell you, the 3 things, that yes, your spirit can heal you. The second thing is, if you want to understand the secret of the universe, you have to understand in the terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And the third thing, nature. Nature, we are a part of nature. So if you nurture the nature, and nature will nurture you. Thank you.
Unbelievable. And that's Mr. Tesla looking within himself to solve the human's collective's biggest problems. And he came up with his biggest inventions, which today we take for granted and live a better life. For example, the first alternated current motor, the AC generation and technology, and also a lot of the knowledge and work that he did that has helped the wireless transmission today, right? And thereafter, we have, and his knowledge and inventions helps us today lead a better and convenient life. Thank you for all those inventions, Mr. Tesla, and thank you for being a part of this panel. Thank you. And now, coming to the last speaker, coming to our last speaker for the day, she is in midnight in her country. It's my pleasure to invite Australian television writer, producer, and author, Rhonda Bryan, famous for her book, The Secret, based on the laws of attraction. Yes, it was followed up by many of her books, The Power, The Magic, and The Hero. But today, we welcome Rhonda to understand her secret. Welcome, Rhonda.
Hello, Rishi. Hello, Rishi. Hello, everyone. I'm equally exhilarated and thrilled to be a part of this conclave today. And I faced a lot of hardships and emotional trauma. I didn't know then that out of my greatest despair and after tracing people who were aware about this, I was on a mission to publicize the secrets and help people believe that they can achieve anything that they desire, that they wish. The secret I'm talking about is the law of attraction. If I simply put it into words, it means what you think and perceive, you can attract it in your life. Consider yourself as a magnet. Can you tell me, Rishi, what does a magnet do?
Magnet pulls things together, pulls similar elements from ions, they attract each other.
Absolutely. In the same manner, your thoughts become your things. So when you see yourself living in abundance, you will attract it. When you see yourself living settled with a lovely partner, you will attract it. When you see yourself owning your dream car, you will attract it. You have to be the magnet to accept it by the universe. But the point is, how do you use the secret? Well, now, have you heard about the story about the genie emerging out of the lamp and granting 3 wishes? Exactly. Does the genie keep any condition while granting the wishes? Or tells you there are some limitations to grant your wishes?
No, your wish is my command.
So, yes, your wish is my command. So the first step is to ask. The best way you can do it is write it down on a piece of paper. And most importantly, write it in present tense. You start in this manner. I'm so happy and grateful that I own this beautiful house. Why you are grateful for it? If you are clear, then only the universe listens. If you're not clear, it cannot bring you what you want. If you will be sending out mixed frequency, you will be attracting mixed results. You and granted your 3 wish right in front of your eyes, isn't it? So step 2 is believe. Believe that it is already yours. Have something called that unwavering faith. Believing in the unseen. And all the universal forces are responding to your thoughts that you have set emotions. Shifts to bring the unseen into the seen. And step 3, last, but the final step in this one. Wonderful about it. Feel the way you will feel it once it arrives. Feel it now. A fast way to get receiving now. I'm receiving all the good in my life. I'm receiving it now and filling your desires and feel it come to you. And you would ask me, what time, how much time will it take, Rhonda? Let me tell you, there is no time, no size for universe. Let me explain that with help watched The Secret, and he decided to give it a try. So he created a small picture of a feather with some different and unique. Just 2 days later, after he thought of it, He walked into a high-rise building in the city of New York. And what does he see? Right, that leaf. Not just any leaf, the leaf that he had imagined, that he had thought of. And without a shred of doubt was working in all its glory. So my message to anyone who wants to experience the power of secret is to want to creating much better things. Thank you.
Right. Fantastic. I'm still feeling it, Rhonda, and thank you so much for your time. And as we take out, as she says in Rhonda's own words, feel good. Can something so simple turn life around? Yes, it can. Decide right now that you're going to feel good. Intend that you're going to feel good today and tomorrow. Visualize yourself feeling good, and whenever you think of it, remind yourself to feel good now. That's it. Life turned around. It sounds easier than it happens, but it can happen with all we're saying, practice. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we conclude our panel, The Confluence Spirituality Meets Leadership, and we look forward to an eventful evening ahead. Thank you so much for your patience and hearing.
Thank you, Rishi, and the interns team, Yagnesh Patel, and Rhonda, Brian, and one more person I missed. But it was indeed quite a good wisdom shared from Shreya as well as Brahmakumari Shivani. Thank you so much. Now, meanwhile, just a reminder for you, we have the Spiritual Coach program coming up. Please find the information on the chat box and put yourself ahead on registering it. The Personal Mastery Mantra, the very unique program from Indian Leadership Academy, is also at service. The offerings are available at the chat box. Please remember to put your best foot forward and register yourself. The learning never ends. So coming up next, we have a very special speaker. I felt so connected with this speaker. I'm an engineer, being worked in the corporate for 10 years. And then moving on to training, I have asked many times, why am I in multidisciplinary fields? And at times criticized too. Am I not focused enough? But all my thoughts faded away a few years back, but I felt more delighted seeing Madam Salema Velayu. She is an internationally recognized expert and consultant on the impact of technology on mental health, wellness, and society. She is passionate about the benefits of combining multidisciplinary fields to create more holistic frameworks for leadership and policy change in the fields of emerging technology. She is an IEEE and University of Cambridge Tech and Wellbeing guest speaker and is currently writing her first book. I'm so eager to read your first book, Salema Velayu. Please put your hands together to welcome Salema.
Thanks, Manju. Manju, thank you. That was a nice introduction. So before we get started, I'm conscious of time, but I popped a PDF in the chat box for people. So you can just see the points that we're going to sort of, I'm going to talk around, and then maybe we can have like a bit of a fireplace chat about some of these things. So that's in the chat box. So you should all have that. So it just gives you sort of like a few signposts. So welcome to Design Life with Spirituality. Thank you again for having me do a little chat here on this amazing platform with so many different perspectives. But again, all about really how to bring multidisciplinary, to raise the importance of the combination of multidisciplinary fields for mental health, performance, agility, mentally, and of course they're key factors when we come to leadership and mentoring and coaching others as well as ourselves, of course. So the 4 key questions, as highlighted on the PDF today, we're going to be talking around is really looking at how these ancient teachings, these various spiritual philosophies, can have a greater impact on our psyche, helping us really revisit the past, seeing what we can learn from that, what we're prepared to leave behind, and help us realize what our habits and behaviors have been from these teachings. They're like tools, I call them hacks. And then in general, like, what do spiritual teachings give us really? And what is the difference? How do you define spirituality? It's a bit of a complexity, to say the least, because everyone has different experiences and different perspectives. But we're looking at how these spiritual teachings can help us or give us permission to look at the roadmap of our lives, where traditional coaching or mentoring or therapies may be a bit too one-dimensional, so coming away from that multidisciplinary influence. And then what does it mean? Like I said, what does it mean to be spiritual? How do we apply that to leadership, and addressing people's perceptions of it, not, striking that balance to make it understandable for people without it being frightening. So like, what are the practicalities of spirituality, and a lot of people, when you discuss spirituality, especially in the UK, have like this particular dogma or mindset, like it's religion versus spirituality. Like, what are the differences? So I'm going to be touching upon that today as well. So let's get started. So it's, as I said before, defining what spirituality isn't easy, because obviously we all have different experiences. We're all coming from different cultures, and we're influenced in our early years, obviously, by what our parents do and where, what they teach us, and where we go and what we learn to a certain extent. So I remember, like, from my own personal experience, my father was a Muslim and my mother was Church of England, and my dad gave me the Quran at age 8 to read with him, and then I had the Bible on the other hand. And both of my parents, because they weren't traditionalists, they were like, read both of these, and if neither resonates with you, that's fine, you find your own way. So it wasn't really until I started teaching yoga that I came back. I actually found that connection with Hinduism, because a lot of the teachings that I did with Ashtanga and Jivamukti were obviously heavily rooted in the Hindu mythology. So that's sort of a little bit about my journey. I don't call myself a Hindu, but there are elements of Hinduism that I really resonate with and really help me on a day-to-day basis. So obviously there's spirituality inside religions, like Islam and Christianity and Buddhism, but there's also spirituality without religion. So a lot of people might class that as new age in quotations, spirituality, which actually occurred around the beginning of the 1970s, like really early. So this was something that came to be, which combined like multidisciplinary fields to an extent of scientific beliefs and information, some of them religious, some of them philosophical, some of them metaphysical. So when we're looking at metaphysical, we may be looking at the chakras as a map for healing as well. The last lady that was on was talking about the law of attraction. So in this new age spirituality as well, there was a lot around manifesting abundance and the law of attraction. And all of this to really accumulate in understanding life from a different perspective. and to try and bring around this global unity, which I think we need more than ever now with what we're seeing around the world with climate change and the environmental issues that we find ourselves sitting with. So it's not necessarily just to heal our own body and mind and soul, but it's also to heal the planet. Many people don't know, but actually it was a Russian mystic that was the founder of this original movement around 1970s. Her name was Helena. I can never pronounce his name right, so excuse me if the pronunciation is off, but it's Blavatsky. So she was a Russian mystic. She was a medium, she was a philosopher, and she was the co-founder of this New Age philosophy. So even though she was born sort of mid 18th century, really the whole New Age movement didn't start to around 1970-ish. And that was brought to the fore by the American theologist David Spangler. So she believed, and this is where there is some connection with Yogi Bhajan and the Kundalini tradition, that she strongly believed that Earth was about to experience the Aquarian age. So again, a time where humanity was going to be enlightened and great change was going to take place. So there is quite a lot of information on her on the internet. She's quite interesting reading if you're interested in pursuing that, to look at New Age spirituality, because sometimes it gets a bad rap. Some people find it too airy-fairy, too flaky without any substance. And when we look at spirituality and religion, what we're trying to do is find something that gives us substance, but it isn't boxed. It's not a box dogma. You're given the information and you're allowed to try it out for yourself to see which size fits, really. So when we look at both religion and spirituality, what we realize is that there's more than meets the eye. So there's more to life than the physical body, basically. And when we look back, and I talk about this in the book as well, when we look way back, humans, even till like thousands of years ago, humans have always had this fascination with connecting or worshipping with a higher intelligence. So we can see that with Greek mythology, we see that in Hinduism, we see that especially relevant in the Jewish religion, where the golem is talked about a lot, and there's a lot of parallels with the thought around the golem and where we're going with artificial intelligence. So I thought I'd just throw that in there just to wake you up in case you were dozing off. So when we look at the golem, we can understand how humans are fascinated by creating a higher intelligence, but we also need to be wary. So in the mythical tales of the golem, it's said to have human characteristics. It's created to have human characteristics, and the sole purpose is to serve its creator. Now, you might feel some parallels there with your beliefs, but when we're looking at creating and building the next generation of intelligence models, we could look back to some of these teachings and writings as a, what's the word I'm looking for? To highlight some of the dangers that we may just be in too much of a hurry because we want to create, that we're not really looking at the implications on a grander scale for humanity. So in these tales of the golem, then it also warns that this golem, can become less cooperative, can think for itself, doesn't want to serve the creator anymore. So, this is a question that I posed in the book, and something that I'm really passionate on talking about is this something that we're prepared for with what we're creating and building in the form of AIs, artificial intelligences? So I'll just leave you with that nugget to think about. So then when we look at religion and spirituality, they have a common subject matter, obviously, but their approaches are very different. So religion is said to present you with a set of beliefs, dogmas, holy men, as intermediaries between you and spirit, or however you name that energy, if you believe there's a higher energy than yourself. Whereas it's said that spirituality really promotes your individual autonomy in defining and connecting to spirit as it fits you. So as it fits your heart and mind. So the key difference for me, and I've highlighted it on my notes here, that I wanted to say is the one key difference between religion and spirituality is not so much about what you believe, but it's about how you apply that knowledge or those teachings or those set of philosophies in how you live. So in other words, what is your attitude to life? So something that the other speaker was just touching upon. You know, can you have an unboxed mental framework? In other words, when we are boxed in, when we are boxed with a series of beliefs, we get stuck in the box and we find it very hard to break out because we feel guilty because we're going against the very set of beliefs that we may have started off with. I can see some of you nodding your head. So yeah, and then we feel like we're like I said, we feel guilty when we sort of break away, but it's actually part of evolution. You know, you take what resonates with you, you use that suits you, be true to that. So when we're talking about being true to what you believe and being true towards, you know, being true to your attitude, then we think about values. And maybe we think about more naturalistic values. And that's a whole nother talk for a whole nother time, which was a big topic in sociology during the late 70s. But nowadays, that is something for me that I observe, that I see is maybe going to be another trend coming back in, a little bit like environmental psychology that was poo-pooed many years ago. Nobody took any notice of it, and now it's making like this comeback because of the crisis that we're facing with climate change, because of the overcrowding, because the way we build things is not sustainable anymore. So we have to find a new way of doing things. So environmental psychology and ecology is really important, topics that are really important to my heart. So those are what I would call more scientific teachings, but then you can combine them with the more philosophical teachings. You know, if we look at the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, you know, Atha Yoga Anushasanam. Now this is yoga how I observe it in the natural world. What is your observation of the natural world? Do you have a connection to the natural world? Is spirituality the bridge to help you refine that connection, to reconnect to the natural world? If we can all do that and step away from the virtualness when it's not necessary, then I believe spirituality can be a tool, can be a bridge to help us strike that balance between the artificial world that we find ourselves living in now and the natural world, the world that we recognize when we were children, the things that we used to do as children, the simplistic things, the uncomplex things, the things without computers and mobile phones, something that obviously the last generation to come up is not going to understand that because they've been brought up with phones, something that I spoke about before when I did another talk. So I believe that it's about finding this attitude is key. And like the other speaker was saying, you know, to really watch how you talk about the environment and how you talk to yourself about yourself in the environment as well, because once we say something, obviously it sends a ripple of energy out. It creates that energy that goes out into the world. So whatever you speak, you will become. So you have to be a bit careful and think about the words that you're choosing to describe where you find yourself sat right now in your life. And also, what life do you want to redesign your life? And if you do, what would that look like? You know, and be very honest about that, but be positive about it. Use the past to shape the future, or use the past to shape the present, I should say, and the future. So many people find their spirituality within religion, but like I say, many people find their spirituality without religion at all. So it's, you know, it's not one nor it's the other. It's just basically what your journey is. So I want to just go through a few quotes that I think encapsulate what the proposed difference is between spirituality and religion. So I'll just say these and you can write them down. And if you're interested and you want them, I'll send them to you. That's also fine. So religion asks you to believe, but spirituality asks you to look. There's a distinct difference there. Looking is you're making your own judgments and your own perceptions and your own decisions. Ask you to believe is very boxed to a certain extent. Religion has dogmas. Spirituality has more wisdom teachings. Religion wants obedience. Spirituality wants experimentation. Religion speaks of hell and heaven. Spirituality talks about karma. Religion wants to comfort you, but only within the confines of that religion and that community. Spirituality wants to liberate you. Religion is external. Spirituality, therefore, is internal. Religion is the form, but spirituality is the essence. Religion wants to convert you, but spirituality wants to inspire you. Religion is an institution. Spirituality is one's own journey. Religion promotes shame and guilt, but spirituality promotes self-honesty and awareness. Spirituality, therefore, can be seen as a system of various frameworks for multidisciplinary fields that can help us mediate between the past and the future, so we're always sat right in the center of our own experience without being told where we should sit and what we should experience. So how can yeah, that's very true, Shamandal, that's very true. So how can spirituality and spiritual leadership in the third millennium and in the age of technology help us? So like I said at the beginning, I believe that it can help us restrike a balance between living in the artificial, virtual, stimulated, overstimulated world and the natural world. So returning us to more naturalistic principles, values, whatever you want to term that. So if we now look at where we sit now in the human experience, you know, it's an existence, not for all of us, but in general, with what we've observed and what is going on and how the world is progressing and the repercussions of that, we can see that we live in an age of overindulgence, of instant gratification, courtesy of the social media platforms mainly, and us being newly named as the switched on culture. Very hard to switch off. We have more physical comforts now, not everywhere in the world, I understand that, but in general, again, on average, we have more physical comforts, more entertainment, more knowledge is accessible than ever before because we have the land of the internet, mind-blowingly so, that we can get overwhelmed with that. And we have really all of the advances in science and technology to thank for that. You know, it's not a bad thing, it's not a good thing, but again, it has to be balanced. And we see that reflected in the amount of people that are suffering from mental health disorders. So since the pandemic, that's increased. It was already beginning to increase before, but with the acceleration of technology and lockdowns, wherever you are in the world, you know, that's had a different strain on our psyche as well, especially when we come to connection, because humans are social animals. We're social. We like to be social. So, you know, if you can't go out of your house, of course, you need to interact on some medium. So that's where technology is great. But even though we have all these options, many people are reporting that feeling of a sense of emptiness, a real lack of fulfillment and contentment. Maybe they've got financial security, maybe they don't, because we're in the age of the pandemic. You know, maybe you've got a great career, but it's something you can't quite put your finger on. So no matter how much we acquire in our material life and how much we understand about the physical universe around us, you know, there is always that deeper itch that needs to be scratched. And, you know, for me, perhaps the role of spirituality in the third millennium is to fill the gaps that are left behind, that have been left behind or are left behind by organized religion. So something that's boxed, and scientific materialism. Again, it has to be one or the other. You know, we want to be able to look at boxed ways of thinking to see if there's anything in there that is valuable or we could use, and then maybe combine that with a less boxed set of philosophies or teachings. But I really like, for me, I really like the religion versus spirituality quotes. I think for me, they really encapsulate, from my understanding and my experience, that they really encapsulate the distinct differences. And of course, it's going to be a personal choice. You may agree to disagree on some of those things. You may agree, you may disagree, but the important thing is that it's talked about in a way that is healthy, that is that has substance, that has sustainability. And I think that with a lot of these philosophies and a lot of these teachings, it can provide more stability and sustainability in this age that we find ourselves living in. And really, I think that's it for me. So I don't know if we've got any time for questions or if you have any thoughts, but yeah. Thank you, Manjula.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Salema. You have portrayed the differences between spirituality and religion. That was quite a scientific comparison and insightful. We also learned spirituality is an internal journey of awareness. And so, having said that, can you say that what would be the challenges while we design life through spirituality? You know, we have two things. You know, most of us are born with the religion and are part of the religion. And of course, we do respect our beliefs. So what would be the challenges in assuming a mindset change there?
I think it would be to appreciate, not to speak negatively about what you've experienced or what you've been brought up with. I think any experience is valuable if you want it to be, if you adopt that mindset. So I think it's acknowledging where you've come from and maybe asking yourself, and I spoke about this last time I was on here, I think, like when we outgrow our identities, you know, it's also realizing what you how you live and what you believe in, if it suits who you are now. Because what you were brought up with as a child may no longer really fit your criteria for how you feel about life in general. So I think it's always important to acknowledge where we've come from, never speak negatively, you know, always try and be very, not critical, but be very logical, I think is the word I'm looking for. Like, speak about beliefs and values and religion and spirituality in a way that is more open, and, you know, obviously opens the debate, sets the environment for an open discussion. You also will know, many of you, that it is difficult when you're in a family that has a particular set of values and cultural beliefs and religious beliefs, to then maybe not step away, but step outside of that and formulate your own, not your own rules, but your own roadmap, shall I say. You know, we're talking about a roadmap for life. That's how you design anything. You have like a map. So when we're drawing, like when I'm drawing interiors, I know exactly what room I'm going to start off with and visually how my brain's going to work to draw that. Designing a life is exactly like that. We need like signposts. Signposts become then the roadmap of life. I think I spoke about that last time, but signposts might be something to do around naturalistic values. You might need to revisit your values. You might need to revisit what you believe in or what you've always believed in, and just really ask yourself now, how does that sit with me now? How are those beliefs, or how is that religion suiting me now? Like, does it serve me? And do I feel true to that? Can I give back what I'm receiving? And if you can't, then there's obviously a disparity. It's obviously you're doing something because you feel obligated to believe in something or be a certain way. So that's not healthy, because then you're living someone else's expectations. You're living someone else's life. You're living someone else's set of values. You're living someone else's set of expectations. That's not necessarily who you are. So sometimes it's always a good idea to maybe step out, step away, have a bit of a breather, do some exploring, you know, because spirituality is about exploring. It's about exploring everything, the meaning of life, the meaning of the universe. You know, we use science to help us along the way of that, but also there's what we can see and what we can touch, and then there's what we can't see and what we can't touch. And really it's training ourselves to bring those two together and not feeling guilty or obliged to do something that you don't feel true to. If something, you know, that feeling you get when someone asks you, you know, I said this to somebody the other day, someone that always says yes to something, even when they mean no, you know, it's not helpful, because you're not living your truth. You're not satya, you know, satya, truthfulness. You're not being true to you. You're doing it to suit someone else. And then from that, there's this resentment that builds up. And it's exactly the same thing with religion. If you're forced to do something, there's that resentment that builds, and then it's not pure. It's not pure anymore.
Yes, absolutely. It is about finding that synergy within yourself and with your environment, just as you said. So doing what that resonates with you, adapting to those values. So thank you so much. If we had more time, we would continue this discussion. Wrapping up for today, thank you, and much grateful for your visit and your insights. Thank you so much, Salima Velio.
Thank you, Manju.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good rest of the afternoon.
Comments, and there are a lot of comments on chat box about how you have compared, and it was quite insightful. There's a lot of comments there. Thank you so much once again. Just moving ahead. We have, please put in your comments how you like the program in the form provided in the chat box. Also, please remember to sign up for the certificates of this program. And let's move ahead and let's see, what do we have next, Shiv?
Absolutely. So let's just go across briefly, because we've had this trivia that's been running through the event, to Neha and a team to have one last go at the audience and have them maybe make a pitch for a prize. Neha?
Thank you so much, Shiv. And good evening, everyone. I hope you all are having great time and you had wonderful sessions and a lot of insights, isn't it? Okay, so we are arriving towards the last leg of the timeline of our time travel. So I expect everyone to please come on a video mode so that we can have an energetic round of trivia. So can we all please come on a video mode so that we can have an amazing round of last 2 questions, and let's see who's going to be the winner. We will be announcing winners soon. So everyone, please come on a video mode. Okay, so can we all show a little energy around so that I can flash the next question? Can we all do this? Can we all do this? Thumbs up. Great, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So let's move on to one question, and that's going to be a second last question. So just warm up your fingers a bit so that you can type your answer as early as possible. So question is, a Brazilian author writes about self-fulfillment, personal happiness, and success stories. His novel about young shepherd has sold more than 150 million copies worldwide. And it has been one of the all-time bestseller book. And before even I could announce the options, I already see a lot of inputs, but still I would want to go ahead with the options. Option 1, Paulo Coelho. Option 2, Robin Sharma. Option 3, James Redfield. And option 4, Eckhart Tolle. And your time starts now. I have already received more than 50 responses by now. That's amazing. Okay, this is going to be a second last question, so I'll give you a little bonus 5 seconds. Amazing, great. Let's see what's the right answer. And the right answer is rightly guessed by most of you, Paulo Coelho. His book, Alchemist, has sold more than 150 million copies across the world, and it has been translated into many languages. Okay, so this is going to be the last question for the round, and it will be some sort of a revision of whatever we went through, like whatever we learned in past 6 hours. So it's going to be a very easy question. So please get geared up for the next question. She's an Australian television writer and a producer, listed amongst Time magazine's 100 people who shaped the world. And your options are Esther Hicks, your Rhonda Byrne, Laura Byrne, and Lisa Nichols, I'm so sorry. And your time starts now. Kiran, do we see a lot of responses in the chat box?
Absolutely. I think we already have over 40 responses in the chat. And I think
all of them are right.
Yeah, and the earlier session that we, the CN team did must have given.
That's amazing, amazing. And we still have another 5 seconds for this question before we wrap this up. And everybody has been giving right answers. So that shows that you all were attentive during the sessions. And rightly guessed by most of you, it's I see a technical glitch here in flashing the question. Okay, yes. So yes, that's Rhonda Briney. Okay, raise your hands and tell me how many of you could give all the right answers, all 6 out of 6, according to you. I see many hands. That's amazing. So hold back for a while. We will be announcing winners soon. Before that, there is a nice quote for you all. So the wisdom of the speakers today have provided the edge to my spiritual leadership quotient. I hope that you all, both speakers and the participants, have experienced the similar value in addition in your minds and the souls. But I do assure you that ILA's endeavors to enrich your spiritual journey with the identical workshops would continue, and we look forward for your participation. Before we sign out, on behalf of ILA team, I would like to wish you all soulful life ahead. Thank you so much for the participation, and we'll be announcing the winners soon, as I mentioned. Over to you, Manju and Shiv.
Thank you, Neha. So we're eagerly going to wait an announcement of the winners of the trivia. But before we go now, I'd love to bring back on to stage Brigadier Arun Gupta, Head of International Operations at ILA, to sort of take us through spirituality for visionary leadership to round up the day. Brigadier Arun is a decorated veteran of the Indian Army. He's also worked in the corporate sector. He's a corporate trainer, international mindfulness and spiritual coach, NLP master practitioner and motivational speaker. He's authored a book, Self-Love Mantra, Love Yourself Like Never Before. Over to you, Brigadier Gupta.
Thank you, Shiv. Thank you so much. Purposely I kept my talk towards the end because I wanted to sum up what everyone has said and maybe adjust a little bit of time. So we are short of time, but I won't take much time of yours. I'll just give you a 3-step approach how to attain spirituality, whether it is for leadership or for yourself. For me, the visionary leaderships are like Mahatma Gandhi, who fought so much for the country, and he had exactly a vision how to deal with the British Empire. Then next for me is none other than Nelson Mandela, 28 years in the prison, and he just had one vision: to see the South Africa of today. And he kept reminding everyone of that vision only for 28 years. He kept his patience, he kept everything. And then when he came out, he made a new world. And then Luther Martin King. I have a dream. That speech it changed the way the world looked at the leadership. So these are some of the examples of visionary leadership. Who are the visionary leaders? Vision is one thing, leadership is one thing. A leader has his words, but a visionary leader would always connect his words with his actions. A leader would focus on a problem of today, but a visionary leader will look at the horizon, what is going to happen 10 years from now. So that is what the visionary leader is. And I won't talk in detail because I don't want to take your time, but I'll give you a 3-step approach how to attain spirituality. Before I go on that, there are 3 things which you need to follow. And that I picked up from a Sadhguru's book, The Inner Engineering. And he says, if you master your body, you have 20% of your life under your control. You can control your destiny. You can control yourself. If you master your mind, 50 to 60% of your life, your destiny, everything is under your control. And if you can control that life force energy, that higher force which is there, which someone of us call God, Almighty, nature, universe, cosmic energy, but there is a life force energy. And if you can connect with that, you would get 100% control on yourself and on others. So what is that 3-step approach? I'll just take you quickly through my presentation. I won't talk much, but it is self-explanatory. First is, what is my definition of spirituality? I mentioned it in the morning also, that spirituality for me is when we are in sync with ourselves and the life force energy that is there in this universe. So how do we get that? This is hierarchy of the SQ, which is the spiritual quotient. First, you have to start from physical quotient, which is self-awareness. Everything in this word starts from self-awareness. Who you are, why are you here, what is your purpose of life, whether you know yourself or not. That is why I had written a book called Self-Love, because I think many of us, before understanding ourselves, we start getting to understand the word. You can't do that. First, you have to understand yourself, who you are. You have to love yourself. You have to connect with yourself before you start connecting with others. The second is your IQ. IQ is your rational intelligence, which you have been carrying right from the day one. Your parents have been telling you, then your teachers have been telling you, you have been learning in professional colleges. Then comes the most important subject, which all the speakers of today, they brought out, is your emotional intelligence. The moment you leave your college, the moment you leave your education, the moment you step into your professional, your personal, your family life, then you are supposed to have 80% of EQ and 20% of IQ. A student is supposed to have 80% of IQ and 20% of EQ. But moment you step into your professional, your family life, you need to have 80% IQ. So EQ, that is what is the importance of emotional intelligence. When you can, Harish mentioned, when you can understand your emotions through the day, you can connect with spirituality. And that is the beauty of how you can understand your emotions. I'll tell you those 3 steps. And then is a social quotient. How you can manage yourself first, like I said. Before you get connected to the word, you have to connect to yourself. So once you are into these steps, once you are aware of yourself, once you know your rational intelligence, when you can manage your emotions, you can manage the emotions of others, then you can connect with your people around you. And that is the social quotient. Once you achieve this, you have achieved the spirituality quotient, which is inner wisdom guided by compassion, belief, value, inner and outer peace. So how do you achieve it? There are 3 steps up to that. How can you walk this spiritual path? I'll give you a very simple 3 steps, which you cannot forget in your life. ILA is doing all this. They've been doing a lot of workshops. This is my 3rd global conclave that I am conducting with the help of Kaushik and the team. And with his vision, we're taking it forward. So I'm sure you will never forget ILA. So I'm giving you a 3-step approach. The first is I. I is for identify who you are. I'll tell you what exactly that means and how to achieve that. L stands for life force energy, connecting with the life force energy, connecting with that higher up. And once you are aware of yourself, once you are connected with that life force energy, whatever you call life force, you call God, you call Almighty, you call nature, whatever it is. Once you are done that, then you have to align your beliefs and values with your goals in life. And that is what is ILA. Please don't forget that. So how do you achieve step 1? Identifying yourself. We talked about 3 brains. Harish talked about 3 brains. We have 3 brains. We have head, we have heart, we have gut. all three brains, they think they have neurons, they have a power to store information, and you have a power to retrieve that information anytime. And once these three brains are in sync with each other, you will never ever have a conflict with yourself first and then with the others. Because whatever you talk is emotionally correct, rationally correct, and intuitionally correct. And once these three things are taken care of, you can never go wrong in your decisions about your personal matters, about your professional matters, about your relationships. And then you have to sync your mind, body, soul, which Kaushik spoke about. Whether you call it soul or you call it a spirit, it is one and the same thing. And how do you achieve that? By knowing yourself, by meditating, by spending time with you, by checking in with yourself. You know, we have time for everyone, but we don't have time for ourselves. So check in with yourself at least for 15 to 20 minutes in a day. Try to see your inside. Your truth is inside. You don't have to see outside anywhere. The second step is life force energy. How do you align this life force energy? What Harish spoke about, chakras. Your 7 chakras are controlling each and every action of yours, each and every movement of yours, starting from your root to your crown. And once your all 7 chakras are in sync with each other, you are connected with that life force energy. You are connected with that higher power, and you will automatically get that power. And once you start leading with that power will be seen not only in you, but in your team also. So please align with your chakras, align with the life force energy. I can't explain all these chakras because the time is less, but anytime I get or people who have done NLP mindfulness with me or a mindfulness, they exactly know that. But we'll come back again and tell you about these chakras in one of the morning meditation time. The third step is to align your belief, values, and goals. You know, a leader with a vision will never take a failure as something which has been gone wrong, or he is not going to get perturbed by his failures. He'll take it as a feedback, come back again, change his strategy till the time he gets success in life. So your beliefs and values are your roots. And if your roots are strong, you can achieve any goal in life. So remember ILA, 3 things to achieve perfect spirituality in your life. And these 3 things, I think, sum up what we have learned through the day. You have to decide yourself which is the leadership style you want to use. You want to be a leader who's going to drag the people along, or you want a leader who would see his team doing well and he'll be just a guiding force. And how come he'll become a guiding force? Just because by aligning with them, aligning with that higher power, understanding the values of social quotient, how to move people with as a team and not to drag the team and do everything like the non-visionary leaders they do. That is all I think I have. I've taken a little more time. Any question you have, you're most welcome to ask. This was just a summary of the whole day, and I've given you 3 steps, which I'm sure you'll never forget, ILA. So over to you, Manju and Shiv.
Thank you so much, Brigadier Arun. And of course, that is unforgettable. We shall take those 3 steps with us. But before we go to our vote of thanks with Kaushik, I'd like to call on Neha again, and this time to unveil the winners of our trivia and our contest all through the day. Over to you, Neha.
Neha, you're on mute. Hooray, here comes Neha. Neha, you're on mute.
Yeah, we can't hear you announcing the winner.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I couldn't unmute myself. I don't know. I think there was some problem. So, are you all excited for this evening now again?
Yes.
How much excited? I can see only excitement from Manju. Can you all hear me? Hello?
Yes, now we can.
Yes.
Yes. So we will be giving prizes in 2 categories. So the first category will be obviously for trivia, and second category is going to be for the active participation throughout 6 hours of our global spiritual leadership conclave today. So announcing the first category winner from active participation throughout the session, first prize goes to, any guesses? How many of you were active during the session? Raise your hands, or you can use emoji. So first prize for the active participation goes to Rajneeta Kadam. Can we all have please one round of applause for Rajneeta Kadam for being active? Everyone? Yes. So Rajneeta, you have won any of our, like you can enroll for either of our NLP or soft skill trainee program for free. So please, you can share contact details with us. We will get in touch with you. And whenever you want to enroll for either one of the courses, they will be absolutely free for you. Our second winner for active participation during the session is Mr. Lalani. Do we have Mr. Lalani? Can you please come on a video mode? One round of applause for Mr. Lalani. And you have won a 50% offer on any of our courses. We have a third winner for the active participation. So we are being generous in giving lots of prizes. So our third winner is Manjula. And Manjula, I think she's our alumni too, and you can enroll for any of our courses for 50% off. So once again, I'll request all the winners to please come on a video mode, and we all give a round of applause for them. And let's move on to the second category of the prizes, and that will be our trivia prizes. We received overwhelming response from you all, and you all were amazing. The answers given by each one of you were amazing. So, any guesses for the trivia? I could see Rashmi had raised her hand some time ago. Rashmi, do you think you could give all the right answers? Could you please come on a video mode? Yes, rightly guessed. First prize for the trivia goes to Rashmi Keshwani. And Rashmi, congratulations to you. And you have won